Hello, fellow lolsters. Today we have an interesting guest at our episode, Sharon Dev, and welcome, Sharon. Hope you enjoy it. And to formally introduce Sharon, over to Danya.
Sharon Dev is a fashion designer and a stylist of 20 plus years. She has recently quit her full-time job to focus on her love for illustration. While her illustrative style is centered around fashion, food, and nature, Sharon enjoys conceptualizing, illustrating, and laying out graphic novels and kids' picture books. Having collaborated with kids authors, Sharon co-published her first picture book, The Adventures of Grandpa Andre. She is presently writing and illustrating her first independent series of kids graphic novels, which while also pursuing her second collaborative picture book. When she's not doodling, Sharon can be found annoying her pet cat or buried beneath a pile of old comics and travel magazines. She's also a lover of local travel, tree hugger, recreational beaker, and a four-legged creature lover. Many other things that she's doing. Yeah. So I think we are very happy to welcome you to this episode, Sharon.
Yes, and also Danya is a dog lover, and we both are elephant lovers. So well, yeah. And let's get started. How is it different to illustrate for a story? How is it different from illustrating for fashion designs? Let's begin there.
Okay. So basically, I have been involved in both fashion and in illustration since like the beginning of time. I think since the time I was a little kid, I've always loved anything to do with fashion. So I think I naturally started, drawing figures of people. Then, it got into my kind of statement, which was my look, which I kind of loved. And I was always torn between should I move into illustration or should I pursue fashion. Okay. I think I gradually towards fashion in the beginning of my career, and I was a designer for at least 12 years of my initial part of my career where I did women's wear. So that involved a lot of sketching. But as I kind of progressed in the early 2000s, we moved on to illustrating on our computers because it had to be more efficient. So that's when I kind of started drawing more on my computer at that time, and with my hand and things I was.
Okay.
So there was something always telling me, get back, start illustrating again and I always did it. I always while classes were going on or while I was in the train or whatever, my hands would always I would always be drawing,
Okay.
So yeah, to be clearer with my answer, illustration for fashion and for like a book, for example, are kind of different because when you're doing fashion, your focus is more on the product. And you want to highlight how things fit, how they look. There's always a flair that you kind of add in your thing, whether the legs are really long or you want to focus on the eyes or the lips. But it's more like, how would I put it? It's more like a statement you make. When it comes to illustrating for like a kid's book, it's all about the character. It's all about where this character is from. So it's a different mindset for both, and I enjoy both.
So do you do book covers also for the kids' books? The book cover, it comes with an illustration out of the inside, illustrations. One of the illustrations, you bring it out, is it? Or how do you do?
Yes. I usually pick up one of the strongest illustrations I've done for the book, and I choose that to be the cover. Of course, I enhance it with, like a font that goes with the whole story. It needn't necessarily feature in the book itself, but the choice of the font, the title is something that I do separately. But yeah, I do choose a picture from the book itself.
Do you do book covers for novels that don't have illustrations, as in the regular novels without illustrations, only the cover?
Have you done one yet? No, I haven't done one yet, Jayanti, but I would love to because I think that's the essence of bringing the story alive. I am a firm believer in covers.
That's interesting. Yes.
So, as you said, illustration has now become more technical and technological than just creativity, right? Because you started illustrating through your computer, and there are a lot of apps that enhance the process, and there are so many things. So can you tell us like few apps that illustrators have to have knowledge about, and how they should start?
Right.
If someone wants to become an illustrator, they are very good at creating something, but they do not know how to get into becoming an illustrator. Can you tell us like what are all the skills that technological skills that they'll have to equip themselves with?
Sure. Sure. So, like I said, I began my journey kind of in the 80s, when all I had was like a sketchbook, and my parents were like really nice enough to give me a lot of color pencils, watercolors, things like that. But I always stuck to what I was comfortable with. There were lots of mediums available as a child. There was oil paint, which I still don't know how to, use at this point in life. But I think the first thing any aspiring illustrator should do is be comfortable. It could be anything. You're working with charcoal or pencil or with an old pencil, pen, whatever. Just be comfortable and do as much as you can with it. Like, if you like to draw with pencil, like me, explore whether you can get a watercolor version of that pencil or crayon, but go with it. So that is drawing with your hand. But like you said, rightly said, actually, there's so much available now because it's not just drawing on on your sketchbook and then taking photocopies. You need to see how it's going to go further. How is it going to be easy for you to print? So when I launched my first book with Vidya, we both were very keen on laying it out correctly. And for that, we had to revert back to I worked on Illustrator with, on my software, on my computer. And that really helped me to lay things out in a much more systematic way because you set it on your file and then you just keep on pasting what you do. So the easiest thing for someone who is not very comfortable or not very skilled with Illustrator or Photoshop is to hand draw, hand illustrate, hand color, then get it scanned with one of the nicer scanners that you can find locally, and then kind of move those JPEGs into a software that you're comfortable with. And it's all about laying it out. So you set your boundaries. Luckily now on the net, you get a lot of options in understanding what templates work. What is the template that you are comfortable with? Supposing you're doing like a kid's book, you'd rather want to do like a larger format. So you decide what you want to do, and then laying out is just the easiest thing after that. Now that having said that, I have shifted completely to working on my iPad. I work with a software called Procreate. It's a fabulous app. I mean, I'm just putting it out there for anyone who's interested in moving from hand to digital. Procreate is one of my favorites now, and
Can you repeat that? What is it?
It's called Procreate.
Procreate. Oh, Procreate. Okay.
Procreate.
Because I have some madness also. So let me also.
So please do, please, you will love it. And once you go there, unfortunately, I've kind of kept all my my books and my illustration equipment is kept in my drawer now because Procreate gives you everything. Like you have all kinds of brushes,
They are not online ones, tools.
You can also buy online, but the app comes with a lot of brushes and pencils that you can simple for your day-to-day illustrations. It's like enough, ample.
Oh.
And like that, there are several softwares if you really research. So you can use a pencil. You don't have to move to a mouse or a trackpad. So for any illustrator out there, please explore. Do explore software. Like even Wacom is available. There are so many software that you can use. But having a pencil in your hand is like drawing on paper, honestly. It's a pleasure. Sorry, I can go on and on. You'll have to tell me when to stop.
So when we're talking about children's books illustration, see there is you will still have to collaborate with the author. You will still have to know what she needs as an author from you or with the publisher, whoever has contacted you, whoever is your point of contact with them. So how does it happen? Like what are the things that you would want to know before you start the illustration? Or are you left to your own creative freedom and like people do not have like any agenda that they want to give you?
So I think it's really important that when I do take on a project with an author to understand exactly what he or she wants, because I am very clear about the fact that this is their dream, this is their vision, and I'm helping them bring it to life with characters, with my kind of talent that I bring to the table. So I think step one is for me to be very clear that I'm working as a partner with somebody, and it would be fabulous if the author trusted me enough to give like my all, like maybe a 50-50%, but anything. I mean, it depends on who I'm working with, honestly. I don't work in isolation. It's not possible because there's a lot of energy that goes into both sides. I mean, the author, of course, is pouring out his or her heart into the book, and I would be investing a lot of my time. A lot of research goes into it. So the first step is to understand exactly what they want and to come to some kind of discussion together, decisions as to this is how this character is going to be. This is where she or he is from. Like just loose outlines, and then I take it from there. Then we of course meet again and again, so till we are both very happy with it.
When you begin like that, do you show the author two different kinds of, totally different, 2 or 3 initially to choose from, the tonality of the illustration, anything to do with, of course, all the 3 can be suitable for the character or the book, but the author might have something in the head, and one of the 3 might be matching that what she had in her head, but again the other 2 may be so attractive she might just put that aside and take one of the other 2. So has such a thing happened to you?
In fact, it's happening right now. Because the thing is, when you're illustrating for children's books, you have to be mindful of the fact that you have to bring something more to the table. It can't just be your style. Like, you have to kind of adapt. Supposing it's a story which is something to do with fantasy, you cannot have your day-to-day sketches. It has to be fantastical. There have to be elements that don't naturally come to your mind. Like speaking for myself, I'm more like a natural kind of, I go with the flow. I like natural forms. Yeah. I'm more into like animals, plants. You'll see a lot of leaves and flowers and whatever I do. But if the story is about a castle or a kingdom, for example, which is set in like the 1800s or the 1600s, so then you have to change your style. And so that's why it takes more than one sketch for us to zoom down on. We have this version of the princess, we have that version of the princess, for example. Sometimes like the person I'm working with right now, she's leaving it up to me. So it's tougher now because I would love someone to tell me that, let's just, we both keep having this thing, but it's fun. And it's also kind of confusing because you love everything you do.
Do you have a bank where illustrations that were not used by, in that initial sample? Do you keep the bank so that you can use it later on for other, to show other fiction writers? I mean, children's book writers.
I do. I absolutely do. Yeah, I think it's a very good thing to do that. Sorry.
If an author or a publisher comes up to you to get an illustration done, do you have like a screening process? Like, do you decide only after you read the book, and then like, is there something like a screening process that you go through? Or do you have like a few, that usually what happens, at least with publisher, they are not bound to give any replies to the authors. They're not bound to give any reply. They can just reject it. But as an illustrator or someone who's working with the author, you will have to have some, boundaries. You are going to have, keep your ethical values intact. So have you had situations where, that you did not agree with whoever was coming to you for an illustration, or like the theme of the book itself did not suit you and you had to reject it?
So far, no, I haven't really faced it. But should I have come across a situation like this, I think I'd have to be a little flexible, because I mean, the joy of choosing to be an illustrator is not being rigid. I will come to a point, will talk about things that I'm not comfortable with. For example, I'm not a very technical artist. I mean, I would call myself an artist, an illustrator. I'm not a technical illustrator. So if, say, for example, the entire book's narrative had to do with automobiles or planes or buildings, that would be an area that I would probably not be comfortable doing at this point. But that doesn't mean I won't, at least try, because like I just mentioned, there's so much available on software right now. And again, I'm going to go back to Procreate. You can do anything you want, like draw straight lines, draw curves. It's a pleasure. So I'm open. I think I'm an open when it comes to challenges. Bring it on.
That's
But
interesting.
do you still have a screening process? Do you read the entire book before
Yes.
you agree on the project?
Absolutely. I would not take it on if it was not in my, at least my realm of understanding. I have to understand what the whole story is about, because the characters, especially like if I'm talking about a children's book or a completely illustrated book, it requires a lot of research that I would be then doing. I'd be creating a mood board based on a character, the main character at least. So yeah, I would have to understand the entire book. I would not just run through a gist.
But the authors, do they come up with, for example, this chapter has to have, this is my main focus in this chapter. So I want that scene to be depicted.
Yes.
Do they give you every chapter? For example, there are 2 illustrations for both of them, they will give you. And in those 2, you just, after reading the chapter, you discuss with them and improve on that? Do you do that?
Yes. Yes. So I worked with an author before, and he was quite clear. He really wanted, like you said, Jen, he wanted these 2 particular zones, these scenes for sure there, and he did leave a few options to me, but he was very particular. So I was good with that as well. And what I do is I do share my point of view with the author. If I feel that maybe we should not focus so much on this and rather that, we do discuss, and usually it works well, because it's always nice to talk to the person that you're collaborating with as much as you can. Yeah, it has happened.
Do you, the tonality of the picture, do you and your author test with the age group, the children, before? Do you test before you decide
Yes,
on the tonal?
So one of my books we did recently for children. My friend who wrote the book did do a lot of tests, because she herself is a parent, and her children were pretty young when she wrote the book. So she had a lot of. I don't have children, so I don't have that audience, but I read a lot of books still, and I am obsessed with illustration. So I have that part of it. But yes, she did do a lot of research, and we shared, what we felt would work for this age group and not. In fact, it helped us add a lot of more things to the book when she did, read through it.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
How have you been branding and promoting yourselves? Because see, people don't know that there are illustrators that we will have to go contact first of all.
Yes.
It is already how to say a forgotten job. Like especially with books, if it were something else, if it were a website or if it were a virtual book or an e-book, then people will remember this. But when it comes to books, normal readable physical books, then people forget the role of an illustrator. How do you keep yourself, branded? I mean, how do you get your brand out, and how do you promote yourself as an illustrator?
Right. So this is an area that I would come and tell you upfront that I'm very weak at. I want to get better at this. And the steps that I am currently using right now, I use Instagram very heavily. For me, Instagram is my platform. I have my own, I have my own page where I kind of follow a lot of illustrators like myself, and I keep frequent. I mean, I try and post something at least 3 times a week. Whether it is like little tutorials that I do or some of my old stuff, I keep on posting. I just try to keep myself, in people's attention at all times. That's one. And I also try and see how many sites I can be part of. Like Dribble is one. There's Behance. I try and kind of put my portfolios there frequently. I also use Pinterest a lot. I think these are very, very helpful for people like me to find new styles, to understand what's trending. So, but yes, I absolutely think it's vital to, focus on this much more than what I'm currently doing.
Once you have finished the illustrations and you have submitted to the author, it belongs to the author and the book, right?
Right.
So you as an illustrator, you are into Instagram or anywhere. So what is the limitation of using one of the illustrations of that book for your, promotion? How does it work, Sharon?
what I do very consciously is I don't post anything till the book is released.
Out.
Is published. That is something that I feel it's ruin everything.
It's basic. It's basic, right?
Basic thing, yes. Then mutually, my can I please get the door? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
No worries. You please do.
Thank you. Thank you.
why is there so much air noise around you?
Around me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back.
Hmm.
No, please continue. I think you were having a conversation that I
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Sorry.
Do you want to repeat the question?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Auntie.
Yes.
You were the one who asked the question.
Sorry.
No, I was asking you, what are the limitations for you? I mean, the basic is once until the book is out, we won't use anything about the book. That is very standard. We all know, even those who read and write a blurb, first readers, they don't reveal the content of the book. That is the same goes for the illustrations. What I wanted to ask you was, even after the book is out, okay, just as the author would promote the book, you can also promote the book with the book cover. That's okay. You've done it and you can say, I am the illustrator. But one of the illustrations inside the book, if you were to take one or two or all of them over a period of time, how much do the publisher, author, they allow you to? Is there any clause in the contract, or how does that work? Is it only our own mutual, author illustrator relationship and understanding? Is that it, or how is it? That's what I wanted. I mean, that there should be some legalities also there. I think, I don't know. I was asking about that. Yeah.
No, I haven't come across any of these kind of hitches in the past, at least, because it's very clear that we both, the author, me, and hopefully the publisher too, want to promote the book as much. And so I think it is only helpful if we mutually agree that let's kind of post as much as we can. Once we have, of course, launched the book, and what do we want to post? Is it about the central character, or is it about the location? Is it the story? So what I would do is, should I be doing this, more, seriously going forward? Is sit with the author and figure out with her or him that, let's talk about this now. For this week, let's talk about this character. Maybe next week we introduce the friends. Let's talk about the area. I would love to do this in a more systematic way. I think systematically
that's good.
Make a big impact, on the book.
Yeah. But at the same time, the content of the book as a children's book by itself is very less. Illustrations are more. And if you're going to give away most of the illustrations out, right, the fun goes away, right? The curiosity. The children or the parents of the children should get to taste it and not get everything out of the book, right? If you really want to, because if you're going to have all the illustrations in your Insta, say for example, of a book, the book, a parent is going to buy the book for the child and the child gets it. I've seen all these images, right? If the child is into reading, yes, the child will read. But if the child is only more into illustrations, the child is not going to even touch the book. I'm afraid. I don't know. I'm just imagining too much, I think. But anyways.
No, I agree with you. So that's the whole excitement of getting your hands on a picture book. I mean, at least that's what I remember. For me, it was like, what's next? So yeah, not giving away too much, not giving away the plot for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Yeah.
What I also do, which I think I should add here, is I also do a little work in progress sometimes, just for fun. Once the book is released, I remember doing this for one of my books, and my dog happened to be around, and she wanted to go out, I think, and she kept coming to me. So I have like a kind of I did a little video where she's there hovering around me while I was sketching. So I also picked up book, I hashtagged everything. So it was quite cute when the book did come out. Then even for me, it was like, wow, I remember the scene.
Yes. Such
You know?
reels, yeah, they are very attractive also for the adults, not even for the children. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think we can cut the call and then I'll send you a new link because there's only 5 minutes left in the call.
Sure,
We just leave, yeah.
sure.
I'll just send the new link to your email. Uh, how do you think the future of graphic novels are? Like, what do you think? Where do you think they're going?
So it's a really happy thought for me because I'm so invested in graphic novels and children's books that I think there's a huge, massive future. And it's not a very new concept actually. Graphic novels. It kind of became very popular in the 1930s in comic books and then graphic novels. So I just like to share this with people who love graphic novels like me. That people kind of literally are willing to spend quite a lot on getting the graphic novels or the artists of their choices. I mean, I thought it was only a 1980s phenomenon when I was a kid, where I would like wait for the new, Mad magazines to come out or new Archies to get my hands on, or like I had Tinkles and the Indrajal comics, which were like a very big thing for me. So it's been around in our culture for a very very long time, and I feel the 2000s onwards, the manga comics have kind of taken over the scene now. They have, in fact, become even more popular than superhero comics in the US, for example, which is a huge deal because
The Japanese manga, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think even my niece, who was 17, she herself is so influenced by the whole anime culture, manga, and I'm seeing it as a very big trend. So I feel the future is very bright, and the pandemic recently, I believe the sales like shot up, whether it's
Yeah.
digitally bought or even physical. But they're just doing better and better. There are more artists coming out now, and more people are adapting to the style of manga now. It's becoming a very common a kind of love of all age groups. So I'm very excited to say that there's a great future for graphic and illustrated.
And do you have any plans for that?
So
Graphic novels? Do you have
yes,
any?
I
You
would.
have?
In my head, yes, I do have it, and it's just a matter of finding that space right now and the good.
Transferring it to hands, to the hand. If you do it fast.
I would love
We
to.
will.
I take your encouragement. I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm stopping the record. Sharon, I wanted to ask you, let's say you're illustrating for a book and the process is as it goes, you have like a process of first conceptualizing, like you said, like forming a mood board for the main character and the side characters if they have a huge role to play, and then illustrating for the book. Have you had like let's say the author accepts it, but there are issues with the publisher. The publisher is not okay with what you've presented. Have you had those issues, or do you all three of you work from day one together? Is that how it works?
No, there would be issues sometimes because, for example, if the author and we both believe that a 6-year-old child would love this book, but the publisher comes with a little more information that no, please try and make it a little more for a 12-year-old, for example. Then we have had these kind of situations, and we have tweaked accordingly because I think it's very important to get everyone's point of view, and everyone comes with some experience. So it's not like the easiest thing to do because when you've built a lot of work, but you have to kind of accept these kind of.
So you do you get the publisher involved in the beginning so that you get his point of view.
Not as much as I would the author, because the author, I believe, is the partner in the book, but the
Okay.
publisher's point of view matters a lot. So we, at certain points, we do bring the publisher into the picture too, and at points which will actually help us, and
Yeah.
ask for that. Yeah, it does happen.
Because they will know the sales point of view.
Yeah.
I understand. It helps. I know it. I understand. But I would also be concerned. For example, you've done so much of work, almost more than half for the book, and for you to come up with
Redo it
something
or
else.
tweak it.
Yeah, redo it. Yeah. So that's why I asked you. They
Yes.
come in the beginning, right? So it will be better. Interesting.
Does your work? Yeah. Please go on.
So sorry. But I just wanted to add that even in day-to-day work, like for example, when I work full time with my content creation as a designer, we do have these situations where you've put in a lot of effort because it's all very, it's creative and physical.
Objective, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very, people will have their point of view, but it's not an easy thing to accept that you have to start maybe from scratch. Usually it's not from scratch, but you have to make your tweaks as you go along. But tweaks are going to always be there. So as a creative person, you have to kind of take this you have to know that it's going to happen at some point or the other and be open to it. That's the only way you're going to grow or learn. That's what I feel.
That and I think tweaking and to incorporate someone else's into those electronic tools are even easier, right? Than imagine doing everything in watercolor.
And also getting it right and identical to what you did earlier. Because sometimes you're just lucky and something just happens in the first shot. But by hand.
These
tools are more convenient that way, I think.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So, does your work stop with illustrating for the book? So, do you also do the typesetting and the font selection for the author? So that, because when you illustrate, you will know like the placement where the text placement would look better. Do you do typesetting also?
Yes, absolutely. So, if I could just tell you, once we've decided that this is the route we want to go and we're happy with our mood boards, and we start fleshing out characters. I don't go into details in the beginning. I just kind of flesh them out. I kind of lay out the entire book from the jacket cover to the thing. I lay out the entire thing roughly. And I do it on the software itself so that, I don't have to go back and do it again. So it's a very rough job at this point. And that's when we decide that let's put our copy here and let's put our image here. Let the image be the entire 2-page spread and let the copy be in a different color. So we do all this right at the beginning. So it's very easy for me as an illustrator to go back and check again and see that, oh, maybe this is too tiny or this is not significant enough. So it's very helpful. So yes, I do the layout.
Do you use InDesign? Do you use InDesign?
No, I don't.
Which one?
But I know a lot of people.
For layout? Okay.
I do Illustrator. I use Illustrator, but I want to progress to InDesign because I know that's a better software to use.
Yeah.
I will probably use it for my next book. Yeah.
I used InDesign for 3 years in my journalism, 3 years.
Okay.
So I know InDesign how it works. That's why I was like,
Yes.
So when you have illustrated the book, when you have done the entire thing, let's say that, like you said, there are going to be tweaks from sometimes even the authors, they would have had like a different picture when you were explaining it to them, and then what came out of the product might have differed. So with the tweaking, do you have like a limit? Like this is the limit that I can tweak it to, and after that I can't do it anymore. And has there been like changes in like the gradient of not the colors itself, but like when you have done it in the software, the gradients of the color would be different from how it is in paper, right? So how do you manage that?
Yeah, so I kind of have certain visions before I start doing a book. For example, when I did the story about Grandpa and Ray with Vidya, we knew we wanted it to be cozy, nostalgic. We wanted it to have the feeling of something very old. So we both had decided we keep the tone that way. And when I drew, of course, it was like I said, I did it by hand. It was pencil colors. But when I did scan it and then started working on it on Illustrator, we kind of tweaked the colors to make it more nostalgic. So sometimes I do that after I finish. And now again on softwares, you can also filter. You can add filters you want. These are things again I would do mutually with the author, because if she wants to be realistic, I would then change. Sorry, please say.
Sharon, you brought the book, but you didn't show us.
I wish I have prepared for that, Jayati. I will mail it to you after this. And I will send you
you don't have a copy, any book?
I do have a copy. Should I go get it?
Okay, I got it.
I will.
Okay. We can even pause and go and come. Do you want to?
I can do that.
Yeah, I'll just pause it. So if you want to show like parts of it, yes.
So this is Grandpa and Ray, one of our favorites, and a very
Vidya Muralidhar, is it?
yes, they are my
Okay.
friend, very close friend of mine, and
Okay.
these are my hand sketches. With I hope you can see it clearly.
Yes.
I share the link with you as well. So this is what I mean by when I drew by hand and scanned it, and this is the kind of layouts that we did. So we had little sketches happening at the bottom too. So it was not just illustration; it was So thank you,
Beautiful.
thank you.
What? So what's this book? The age group for this book?
We decided that it would be 6 years plus. So, as you can see, the boy himself is kind of a 6 to 8 year old kind of. Yeah, so thought let's keep the same kind of feel and the age group. Versus, I'd like to show you what I'm working on now. So, like I said, I'm working on Procreate. So
Okay.
now these are characters, and what I do is I try and put her in different looks, in different situations. So what works best? So the difference again between hand illustration and this is, you can keep experimenting. You want her with long hair, you can do it. It's the same person. There are lots of things. I mean, I would love to show you some if we have the time.
Please show.
This is one of the princess I was talking about that we're working on. So, like I said, I do a kind of a rough layout of the text, so that I know now that I want to spread my illustration across 2 pages. I don't want to, like, our first book was half and half, but this is the whole, make it more exciting. So
very nice.
Because you're talking about illustrations, have you also done comics and graphic novels?
I am dying to get started. In fact, I kind of recently left my full-time job because I have this huge idea in my head and dying to get started. I love comics. I'm passionate about comics. So at this age too.
Have you thought about using illustrations for travel books like travelogues and travel diaries?
Yes. In fact, my book that is in my head right now is about travel and food. I love food and both these things. So, but again, it's a children's book to start with. So I'm so excited. I'm just waiting to get cracking on it right now because it's all here.
There is this new concept of these interactive books, right? Interactive virtual books in the children's book arena, where the parent or the child, they approach the website and they give their child's name and the way the child looks, so that child's character itself can be put up in. So it's all customized to each child. So have you thought about it? Do you think, because that one book itself will be around like some $1,200 or something, because it's customized to each child, and the book comes in a physical form also as a virtual form. So have you thought about it? Have you come across anything like that?
No, in fact, thank you for telling me this because I haven't come across this and it sounds so exciting. Thank you so much. I mean, it's something new I've learned today.
In fact, interactive books have quizzes. They can change the story. Ending, they can change the face of the character,
and they are very highly priced. So I think you will also,
that's the future.
Oh, thank you. This is great. I mean, Vidya and I have also often discussed about how to add more, activity into our books for this age group. So this is fabulous. I think
we have an author who had come to LOL. Her name was Devika, and she has written a book like this. One of her books are right now available this way. So maybe I'll send you a link, and it's kind of like a website where the authors can go and create such books. I'm sure there is also a place in that same website where the illustrators can also get to be a part of it. I'll send you a link.
Thank you. That'd be really great. Thank you.
So I think it's time for us to go into our next segment, which is World of W's. World of W's is nothing but W questions and like what, when, where, and how. For that, and if someone is not able to listen to the entire session, they could just scroll down to this segment and listen to a gist of it. So that is the point of it.
Sure.
And yeah, so the first question is, when is your next illustrative book due and what is it about?
Yeah, so our next book is due maybe by the month of September for this year. It's again a children's book, and I'm collaborating again with Vidya, who I did my first. Yeah, it's a very beautiful story, and I'm really excited about it. It's about this princess and her discovery and what she is like, learned about her insecurities. So I won't spoil it further because it's really beautiful, and I showed you a few sneak peeks
Yes.
of.
Yes. And because Vidya has also been our guest, we know that Vidya is also talked about.
So how long does this process take for you, Sharon? For example, you did what grandpa
and Rain.
So the illustration part alone, collaborating, showing, getting the author, the publisher involved, it takes how long does it take for you to complete that cover to cover?
Ideally, Jeffrey, this was the only focus that I had ever. I would say at least 2 months is what we would probably take from start to end. But because I was doing my other full-time job, it took a longer time than it should have. But I think dedicated, yes, it takes around 3 days a week's work that I would put into a book like this. So easily a month and a half or 2 months to be on the safe side from start to end. But then again, have to happen.
How can an author or a publisher approach you if they want to get work done by you?
It would be great to get a feeling from after this discussion with you. If I get more people get to know me, through kind of conversations like this is one thing. And as I said, I have a lot of, I keep posting my stuff on Instagram, hoping that, I would get someone's attention. And honestly, I wish I had more input on this, but since I've just about started, I'm looking at ways in which I can learn and figure out. But
do you have a website or a blog or something?
Blog? No, not yet. I'm working on it.
You should. And why only children books?
Because I've only been approached so far for children's books.
Okay.
And I think my style is very a very caricature-led kind of illustrations that I do. They veer on the more humorous side or the comical side, because that's how I kind of draw. But there's another part of me that does like fashion, or I do more serious kind of illustrations. But I think the balance is more skewed towards doing more cute things or fun kind of things. So that's why I've been approached mostly by children's authors.
So because you have been an illustrator for so long, and I'm sure there's a part of you which also wants to become an author and take responsibility of the entire process. How are you thinking of going about it?
Writing a book.
Yes, absolutely. It's not. I thought I can illustrate, so I can write, but it's it's easier to think like that than do it, because I did spend a few days trying to figure out what direction I wanted to take. To be very honest with you, I consider myself a kind of a storyteller. I do enjoy building this kind of stories in my head.
Okay, then you should write.
I would love to. I'll tell you where my big struggle is right now, is that because I am a visual person, and for me the layout and the set and the character is so important. I kind of start focusing very strongly on that, but I need to start balancing it out, give the plot the attention it needs, and I guess once I get that balance right, I'll be ready to take it to the next level. Right now it's all about how it's going to look, what it's going to do, what kind of what I can do.
Visual, from my experience, visual persons, the persons who see world visually are capable of being fiction writers.
Only people who are visually able to portray a scene are the ones that can write. They're the only ones that can write are them.
Oh.
Yes. Because emotions anyway can come. Anyone can emote. Anyone can emote, because we are all humans. But this visual.
see, though we both are authors, what goes on in our mind are the visuals. That's what comes to our mind. We just make it into words, and I understand what he's trying to say. That for you, like the drawing is
it's even easier.
Yeah, I think for you it will come much easier. Maybe like you will have to tweak the words in the second or the third edit. Like it will
Bring
take
it
to
down.
longer
Yeah.
edit or like
Yeah.
more drafts you will have to write. But I think it will come very very easy for you if you just give it a try.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
I mean, I'm so excited about this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we've come to the end of this segment, and we would like to know if there is something that you would like to tell our future aspiring authors and aspiring illustrators, if you have a few words for them.
Absolutely. I would love to. In fact, so I think no matter what you do in life, you could be like me. I mean, I was always someone who drew and illustrated, and I was always excited about this. So I just naturally moved in this direction. But that shouldn't stop you from wanting to, achieve your dream. So, I mean, even if you have a great story in your head and you think you can kind of sketch, you can kind of draw. Don't let the fact that you're not very digitally savvy or you don't think you're a very good illustrator get your story out there. So it's about getting your story out there and do what you have to do. Just back yourself, because you have to believe in yourself. And I have read so many exciting stories that have stayed with me, and it wouldn't have been the best illustration or the most aesthetically appealing thing, but it's the message that comes. So that is one thing I would really really want any aspiring author or illustrator to just go ahead and do what you want to do. And just one more last thing I'd like to say is that and again, I don't want it just to come across as something very contrite, but I think sending a message to a young child through your books is like so vital. I mean, I would love to send out messages like be kinder, like be kinder to animals. I know, you don't do this in school every day, but then your story book, the place you get away to should, like, for example, I grew up reading a lot of Tintin and Asterix, and the central characters were always their pets, like the dog Snowy or the dog Dogmatix, and Dogmatix loved trees and he cried every time a tree fell. I'm those who read Asterix, so know what I'm ranting about. And Tintin was always there. He always kind of took care of the underdog. There was always a message of kindness, like be kind. At the end of the day, I just think that whatever you put out there, let it have a message. Whether just let it leave you with some kind of good feeling. And I do read a lot of dark stuff as well. I read a lot of horror. I like fantasy. I like superheroes. But I like to go away with some good feeling. There has to be something nice. So that's all I would like to say at this point. Enjoy what you do and leave something nice,
Yeah. Good.
Actually,
Yeah.
like you said, right now, the one thing that the kids of this generation are, they have to be, they are put into is sensitivity training. I think that is what we would like for our kids to know, like how to be sensitive towards our differences and all that. And I think children's books these days mostly are gravitating towards that. They are in the right path of teaching the children that sensitivity. In our generation, even though if it were kindness, even though if it were things like, you'll have to help others, we were not given the sensitivity type of a training where we knew what was politically right. All that
Right.
we never got to know that. And it's a good thing that kids these days are, especially through kids' book, they are learning sensitivity and they're learning about good touch, bad touch, all through the book. And that is a good thing.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think sensitivity is such an important thing that is also like I'm very happy to especially even anime. I watch a lot of that, and the messages are quite strong. So it's a nice platform.
Yes.
Because
How did you enjoy the session with us? Did you like having the chat?
I loved it. I appreciate the time that you both have taken out for me and like listen to my story. Thank you so much. I mean, I thank Vidya too for talking about me to you, and I really hope I could help someone in any little way with my stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to LOL.
Yeah. And this stopping the recording.
Sure.